Okay, love. So before we even dive into the nitty-gritty of creating your course, we need to talk about power partners. So again, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, I'm going to create a course, I'm just going to put it up on my website or I'm going to put it on Teachable, and people are just going to somehow magically find it and want to buy it. And what I want to say is even famous people like Oprah or really established authors or coaches don't rely on that belief in order to sell their programs or their books or their bodies of work. All of anyone you look out there, Oprah, Marianne Williamson, famous authors, coaches, speakers, everyone that I personally know that has a seven-figure or multiple six-figure business even has power partners. And even if your goal, if you're like, Jessica, I don't have those lofty goals, I just want to make a little bit of money with this, with a little side hustle, so that I can work part-time. But this is the linchpin. This is the number one key that you have to have in place in order to consistently sell your courses. Having a team of power partners. So what I want you to start doing right now, before you even start building your course, now that you're clear on what your course is about, maybe you have some clarity about the pricing, is it a stepping stone course, is it a deep dive course, maybe you're going to build both simultaneously. You want to start building your team of power partners right now. So I'll give you some tools for that, but let me give you some examples. Just if you're like, I'm just gonna slap this up on Teachable, I'm just gonna put it up on my website, or I'll just send an email out to my email list and people are gonna buy my course. So I had to build a case for you. Like, why is this so important? So let me give you some examples. So the first example is, this is actually an example that I gave you before in a previous video. This is Charlotte Jacobs and her husband, Jesse. They have $1 million business. I'm going to give you some other examples. But the way that they fill their 3-day retreats, so I previously said that they will create these 3-day live events that are these incredible trainings. People laugh, people cry, they're incredibly engaging. They fill these 3-day live retreats with anywhere from 100 to 300 people. So they're some big events. And the way that they get all of those people into the room is through collaboration. So what that looks like is every year, and now I'm one of their power partners, so I know exactly how they do this. Every year, Charlotte hops onto the phone with me and has a heart connection conversation, because I'm going to be more inclined to share about her 3-day live event with my network if I'm feeling connected to her, if I feel like, yeah, Charlotte's awesome. And usually the way it actually works is like we heart connect, and instead of me just inviting my community directly to her 3-day live event, usually what we do is I host a webinar for her. So she's got a free webinar. I'm like, awesome, let me share that with my community because it's completely free. And my people get onto that webinar, they connect with her, and then from there, she invites them into her 3-day event. The thing is, I'm not her only power partner. Charlotte probably has several dozen power partners, which means over the course of the year, she's having 2 to 3 heart connection conversations every month with 2 to 3 different power partners. So by the end of the year, she's had 24 or 36 conversations with people who are delighted to share her free webinar to their email list. So she ends up connecting with hundreds of people, maybe even thousands of people through her webinars. And then from those thousands of people, hundreds of people attend her retreats, and she's able to make $1 million in sales every year. Now you might be listening to this and being like, Jessica, I'm not at that level. And chances are if you're in this program, you're not at that level. But I wanted to give you a sense of like how financially impactful it can be to have other people out in the world saying, awesome, check out this webinar, check out this workshop, and to have other people out there promoting your webinar, your workshop, your courses for you because they feel heart connected with you because you're in a power partnership. So let me give you a couple more examples that are maybe a little bit closer to where you're at. So we already looked at Charlotte. Let's take a look at Khadija. Khadija is probably one of my favorite people in the whole world. She just brings an element of light and positivity with her everywhere she goes. She ended up this last year creating a summit. So she created, and you can actually see it right here in her website. She ended up interviewing over a couple dozen, just incredible coaches and luminaries and leaders, and basically put them in the spotlight. She interviewed each and every one of them and made those interviews available for free. The flip side of that, the benefit of that, is that each one of the people that she interviewed shared this summit, shared this interview series with their email lists. So this interview series, this summit that Khadija did, went out to thousands of people. So she's establishing herself as an expert, as a community leader. And because some of those thousands of people ended up saying, yes, I want the summit, they ended up entering their email address, their name, to get the summit for free. And so she ended up growing her email list by well over 1,000 people. I've definitely seen people grow their email list by 4,000, 5,000, 7,000 subscribers or more with a summit. But the key was Khadija wasn't out there all by herself saying, hey, check out my summit. Each of the 24 people that she interviewed also said, hey, I'm totally behind this. Thank you for interviewing me. Thank you for putting me in a spotlight. I'm going to share this free summit out to my email list. So she grew her email list, and she had these 24 power partners. And then due to that growth in her email list, she offered a workshop. And from that workshop, she was able to enroll new clients into her ongoing program. So that's just one example. Now, creating a summit is kind of it's a big deal. Like we could do a whole course just on creating a summit. That's not what we're here for, but I wanted to just give you a sense of how she was able to grow her list and sell programs because she had all these other power partners out there promoting her. So that's just one example. Let's go ahead and look at another example of powerful partnerships. So this is Laura Cornell. She's in the past been a mentor, but she's also been a client. She has a multiple six-figure business, and she ended up recently writing a book, and that book became a bestseller. And the way that she, and really any author, gets to the bestseller list, here's her lovely book, Moon Salutations. The way that any author gets to the bestseller list is by having a team of power partners. So well before Laura's book was ready to be published, she started having heart conversations with people like me, people that she was connected to, people that really believed in her work and really were excited for her book to come out. And she said, hey, my book is coming out. My book will be coming out on this date. Would you be willing to promote my book, which will actually be available for free that day, or for $1 or $2 or some kind of, she made some incredible deal. And she ended up getting a couple dozen people to say yes. And those couple dozen people on that day emailed their email list. So the book went out to thousands of people. Tons of people ended up buying her book, and that boosted her to the #1 bestseller. And now, because she has that status, she can get awesome speaking opportunities. She can be featured as a guest expert, radio interviews, etc. The other cool thing about Laura is that she has a multiple six-figure business because she already had a team of power partners. So she sometimes hosts webinars, she's done summits, she's also done 3-day live events like we've been talking about. And the way that she fills her webinars, the way that she gets her summits out into the world in front of thousands, the way that she fills her incredible 3-day live events is that she has a team of power partners that feel connected to the work that she's doing out in the world, are happy to promote her. So that's another great example. I'm going to give you one final example. So we already took a look at Laura. Let's take a look again at Miss Danielle Leslie. So Miss Danielle Leslie she's just a wonderful mentor. I adore her. I adore everything that she's creating, and she just does such an amazing job at it. And what I love about her model is it's very similar to what you will be learning here with me. She has $1 million business and basically hosts webinars. And from those webinars, she sells her programs, her $2,000 to $3,000 programs. And that's her $1 million business. It's amazing. Now, the way that she is kind of like making money and experiencing success on that level is that every time she has a webinar, she has dozens of other incredible influencers promoting her webinar through their email lists, through Instagram, through Facebook, so that when she shows up to her webinar, there are hundreds of people on her webinar. And from there, then she can offer her course. Obviously, not everyone's going to buy her course, but because she's collected such an incredible volume of people who are there, they're feeling the energy, they're feeling her, then when she makes that offer, hey, check out my program, she makes sale after sale after sale after sale. So I wanted to just give you some examples of different people who are playing at different levels and how they have creatively used their team of partners, their power partners, to help promote their various offerings. So we'll be circling back to this, but I wanted to start entering into this conversation now because I have a little bit of homework that I want you to be doing over the next month, even as you start creating your course.